Food for Thought with Professor David Bitte.
A very good morning to you. Welcome to another episode of Food for Thought with Professor Ndete. Now, if you joined us last week, we kicked off a series looking at suicide, and we did an intro just understanding what goes on in the mind of somebody who's suicidal and what drives people to that place where they want to take their lives. Now, last week, Professor had mentioned about statistics and the Kenyan scene and what's happening where suicide on the Kenyan front is concerned. I believe we'll take a look at that today and also talk a bit about para-suicide. If you don't know what that is, then listen in because we have an interesting conversation for you today. Before you give us the numbers, the Kenyan numbers, I'm just thinking, what about, there are those people who keep crying wolf, so to speak. There are those people who are always threatening that I will kill myself, but they never actually get to do it. It's almost like they use it as a tool to get what they want or to manipulate others. Where would you place that kind of a person?
These are people, we call them parasuicides.
Okay. There's even a name for them.
Yeah, there's a term for that. They do all kinds of things, cut their wheels, or make prayers. Those are very easy to deal with. Yes, there are those kinds of people. But people who really want, determined to kill themselves, they keep it to themselves very secretly. And they guard it because they want to be discovered only after it has happened.
Okay.
Yes, those people, if I may, you allow me, those people we call parasuicides. They want to manipulate them. They want to manipulate other people. Maybe they want to make people feel guilty that you are my friend or your girlfriend or boyfriend. You left me or you did this thing to me, and I'm going to teach you a lesson.
Yes.
And, they threaten to do this. Others want to test the benevolence of God. If I die, then God's will that I die. If I don't die, they are just testing the waters. And those people who have this kind of thing, they are the kind of people, say a child has a quarrel with the father or with the mother. And this is a very common story, by the way.
Yes.
And now it goes to our bedroom and it comes brandishing an empty bottle. I have taken all these medicines. I am going to die. So please go and look for another child whom you love better than me. You hate me. Of course, the drama changes. These guys rush, or boys rush to the hospital, casualty. They do stomach washout, which is not very comfortable. And they don't want to have that experience again because in the first place, they didn't want to kill themselves.
Yeah.
Then the mother or the father, the next time there's an issue, you not say, you are my child. You cannot argue with me. Do what I tell you, and I don't want to hear your ideas. Next time there's that issue, they'll sit back and listen. So they're manipulated. The dangerous thing is, people may take some tablets to draw attention to other people, but things can go wrong.
Yes.
Actually, it's kind of accidental death. It was never intended.
Yes.
But because we didn't take all the logistics of what could possibly happen, they end up dying, and that becomes what it is. It's an accidental suicide.
Okay.
It was not really intended, but we cannot ignore it. We cannot ignore it because they talk about it.
Yes.
You see, the other one we can ignore, the reason why we ignore it because we do not know, we are not getting the signs. But if they start talking like that, then you can say, tell mom and dad, the problem here, we need to talk about it. So that's why I'm saying it's much easier to deal with.
Okay.
But those people who really want to kill themselves, because they blame themselves for what is happening. The parasuicides are blaming somebody else. The suicidal person
are blaming themselves.
so for ourselves.
Wow.
And therefore, because they think they are terrible, that's when they make all the plans to kill themselves secretly, so that they only discovered when it's too late. That is their plan.
Wow. Professor, you had mentioned earlier that you have some statistics and some numbers.
Yes.
Share those with us so that we know what's happening in our country.
Please, I'm asking the viewers to let me read these things. I can actually give you some figures. There are 3 stages in suicidal ideas before they go to suicidal plans. And the suicidal plans are now turned to suicidal activities. So we are talking about suicidal ideas, suicidal thoughts. And coming from the bottom, and we asked questions. And these are questions that are asked internationally. I mean, they are not just questions that instrument that we developed here. And we are looking close to 10,000 youth. That's quite a big sample.
Yeah.
In fact, when I was viewing the literature, our sample is one of the biggest recorded anywhere in the world. One research. People, these are the kind of questions you would ask. Did you wish you were dead? 10% or close to 11%.
Wow.
Did you think you were better off dead? 12%. Did you have thoughts of suicide even though you would not really do it? That's a key one. They will not really do it. 12%. Did you frequently think of dying in a passive way, like going to sleep and not waking up? 14%. Did you seriously consider suicide, taking away your life? 14%. Actually, just about 15%. Now listen to this. Did you think about a specific way to take your life? We are talking about 19%.
Wow.
Yes, 19%. This is very worrying. I am aware of other studies that have been done in Africa where they didn't find 19%, they found 23%. Some other countries, some other studies in Europe, we found a similar figure.
Yeah.
But the fact is, this is the way it is in the Kenyan setting.
Do you have an age bracket of the people who are interviewed?
Well, yes, I have the age bracket, but I'm also being very careful because I don't want to reveal an identity.
Okay.
But this approach, we looked at these age brackets, and the younger the people are, the more likely they are to develop this condition. We are actually talking about school-going children.
Oh my goodness.
Did you hear me? School-going children.
Yes.
By the time we get, say, to colleges and the universities, the prevalence goes down much, much easier because there are different kinds of coping with the stresses.
Yeah.
By the time they get to 22, 23, this part of the brain has developed so they are able to reason with themselves because there's this frontal part of the brain that is able to reason. And that really helps.
Okay.
There are better ways of dealing with the situation. Maybe they can relate with peers and so on. So the point I'm trying to make is suicide is mainly a phenomenon of young people.
Wow.
And the older they grow, the less it becomes. Also, depression, and listen to this, depression tends to be more common in females.
Oh.
Girls, mothers, and so forth. Depression is more common in females. It's more in the female gender than it is in the male gender. But the irony of it is those people who commit suicide are more of the male gender than the female gender.
In fact, I was going to ask you that question later on because I keep hearing that more men. More men commit
right.
suicide, yeah. So how does that work out then?
I'll tell you.
Yeah, tell me.
Yes, I'll tell you. It is something that has been found consistent across the world. And the thing is, men tend to be violent. And we know men are more violent
Yes.
with even other people. They're also more violent to themselves. And when they decide to kill themselves, they use more violent and therefore more effective ways of killing themselves.
Wow.
Like jumping eyes, from hanging, sticking knives into their hearts, setting themselves on fire, as opposed to females who tend to take less active ways of committing suicide or taking away their lives. We think that is the explanation.
Okay.
But these are global statistics. The interesting thing is that what is found in the rest of the world is what we are finding
In our own
so
country.
we are part of the globe. Yes.
Wonderful. Indeed, information is power, especially information that you put to use. And I'm sure the more we continue having these conversations about mental health, the less stigma will be associated with mental health issues. Remember, even as the Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Let's put focus and help each other where our mental state and our mental health is concerned. That's Food for Thought with Professor Ndetey for today. Have a great day.